It be I, Captain Gingebeard, to introduce you to the Pirates Collectible Card Game. Get the ships, build them, fire on your enemies, and plunder their islands. Will you be the greatest pirate in the seven seas? Time to find out.
We're a club attuned for rovers.
We can sing in every clef.
We can even hit the high notes.
It's just too bad we're tuned deaf.
A pirate I was meant to be. Trim the sails and roam the sea.
So, Pirates of the Spanish Main. What's the setting? So, yeah, originally, as I said, Pirates was called Pirates of the Spanish Main, but as more sets got released, it just became Pirates. Now, for the most part, the setting is pretty bog standard. It's just pirates fighting each other. There's nothing super special about any particular pirate. When it first came out, Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie, was white hot. It was extremely popular at the time. So what they did is they just basically took characters from Pirates of the Caribbean and they gave them new names. Like instead of Captain Jack Sparrow, you had Captain Jack Hawking. Instead of Captain Barbossa, you had Captain Blackheart. And they all sort of took a little bit of bits and bobs from different pirate stuff and sort of amalgamated them together. It was pretty cool, but at the same time, it didn't really lend to a massively different, crazy setting or anything like that. It was just pretty much pirates. And then, of course, they bought out some of the other sets that there was a Pirates of the Caribbean set. So then you could have Jack Hawkins team up with Captain Jack Sparrow, and you could have both of them together, and vice versa. So
Blackheart, Jack Hawkins, Captain Jack Sparrow. What about Captain Gingebeard?
So I think the idea behind it was that it was meant to be sort of played separately, but no one played them separately, and nor were there any rules to play them separately. So yeah, and then they also had this crossover where you had 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea make an appearance. You had Captain Nemo and the Nautilus. That set also brought submarines in as a pirate ship that you could put up. And then they also ended up having Vikings, as in like Dark Age Vikings, as one of the set guys. So you could have, Captain Jack Sparrow on a pirate ship sword fighting Captain Blackheart while they were being eaten by a kraken and being attacked by a sea dragon. So it ended up getting a bit crazy, but the setting was pretty much generic Age of Piracy to begin with. Then some supernatural stuff got added in, then Pirates of the Caribbean, then some crazier steamships and Vikings. So that's pretty much where we stand for that particular scenario.
We're thieving balladeers.
A gang of cutthroat mugs.
To fight us off, you won't need guns. Just jolly good earplugs. A pirate I was meant to be. Trim the sails and roam the sea.
Okay, so now that we've covered the setting, let's get into some rules. The rules are pretty straightforward in Pirates. It's not a big crazy thing. What do you need? So first you need some pirate ships with their cards. So nothing too crazy. I'll have a picture show up here of that as a close-up. You'll need some islands, about 8 roughly. You'll need 2 home islands and 6 regular islands. And then you'll need some gold coins, which generally it's 3 per island is generally how it's played, of different nominations, because on the back they have different numbers. So this one's a 2. Once again, I'll show some pictures up here. So don't worry about getting left out. You'll be fine. Oop, just 2 seconds ago. Sorry, I bumped it a little bit. Ignore the door in the background. So yeah, you get some coins, and then finally you need some standard D6s. Now, pirates do come with these little things. This is from a booster pack, which you will see later in the video. I opened these, so that's cool. But in the booster, you get a tiny, tiny, tiny dice, if it will come out. And so they roll like crap, to be completely honest. I don't recommend using them. Get some regular dice. But if you're desperate, you open, like, say, 3 packs each, you'll have enough dice to sort of play the game. Fantastic. So, yeah, and that's basically what you need to play Pirates as a game. You may also need some crew, which will come on other cards. Once again, crew cards will show up here. But that's about it. You have 40 points to play with. So we're not going to go super in-depth on team building here because, you know, different things cost different points. This ship, the Sulky, costs 9 points as demonstrated up here. So you make fleets of 40 points. Now, these two fleets that I've got currently set up to show off how to play the game, they are not at the 40-point limit or anything like that. We're just going to show off how things work. Speaking of which, let's get into it.
Aye, it be me, Captain Gingebeard again. Here to introduce you to some of the ships from Pirates. We've got the Duke, the Empress of India, and many more. So keep your peepers open for the high seas.
So here we have some pirate ships. Now, for the demonstration here, we'll just use two of these ships. We'll use this fella here, the Empress of India, and we'll use this fella here, the Duke. The other ships may be put to the side for this particular thing. So we'll say that they each start on their respective home islands. We'll move this one forward a little bit more for the demonstration. So here's the Empress, and over here we have the Duke. Very straightforward stuff. How do you move? Well, this is why you need these cards. So on the card, which we'll bring up here, which actually, you know what, I'll put an image up of it. But on the card, we've got a few things. The number of sails. 3 sails. Bang. So that's how many this ship should have. This thing is how many cargo they can hold. Now, if you have crew, they take up a cargo a cargo spot. So you can carry that many gold or that many crew and gold together. Then you've got this here. You may notice that this is the movement and it has S plus L. I will explain that in a few moments. And then we've got the cannon here. Cannons here. Sorry, it's a bit... I'll show a proper photo, as I said. And we've got 2 white cannons that hit on 3s and a red cannon that hits on 3s. Now, what does that mean? Let's flip the card over and I'll demonstrate. Each card has a red line and a white line on it. The white line is short. The red line is long. So, for example, this ship moves a long and a short. So that's how I would show it. If we grab our friend the Empress here, the Empress is actually pretty similar, as we can see, except she's got 3 long-range cannons, but otherwise is roughly the same. Some of them have special abilities, some of them don't. You know, but let's take a look at, say, for example, this Edinburgh trader here. He moves too short, and his cannons are up here, but otherwise the card is the same. And then if we have a look at the HMS Wycliffe, we'll notice that the Wycliffe moves a large instead, but his cannons are much better, hitting on 2s. Once again, I will demonstrate this. Now, for the purpose of this game, we're going to say that the HMS Empress has a helmsman, and our friend over here has a captain, which I'll explain what the hell they do. So, to start with, a ship can move or shoot, unless it has a captain, which it can do both. So we'll say move the Sulky here, and we'll move straight towards the island. I mean, not the Sulky, sorry, the Duke. So we're going to move the Duke 1 length. So the short length, so like that. And then we'll move him a large... Actually, it's to the end there. So, and then we'll move him a large length. So that would be the Duke's move. Now, if the Duke was in range of someone, let's get a ship here. Let's use the Wycliffe. Or the Edinburgh Trader. That's also fine. If the Edinburgh Trader was, say, over here having a chill, maybe he's just picked up some coins. Alright, so here's the ships. So the Duke fires. And all his cannons are in range. That's fine. And we'll say he rolls a 2, a 3, and a 4. So he hits with 2 of his cannons, and we just simply remove the sails from the Edinburgh Trader. Like that. Now, let's go have a look at our friend, the Empress. So, here she is over here. And we're just going to move with her. Now, I'm going to make the full move. Normally, this would be a bad move, because if we move the full distance, we will be in range of the Duke's cannons. But just for this particular purpose... Actually, you know what? Let's move her to this island. We'll show off another thing. Alright, so when you dock at an island, you can choose to take a number of gold coins based on how many are on the island, how much space you have. Now, we already said that the HMS Empress has a helmsman. The helmsman lets her move an extra short distance if she wishes. But for this, we'll say we take these 3, and now the player would inspect what they've got here. So we've got a 2, and a 3. So that's not too shabby. And then they go on to the Empress for the time being.
Look at all the sweet doubloons of this golden island.
Alright, and then we'd come over to here. Back over to the Edinburgh. And we'll say that the Edinburgh decides, hey, this ain't worth it, mate. I'm out of here. And so he moves 2 shorts away. So we'll just say, whoop, and then he comes around the island here. Okay, so then it would be the Duke's turn again. The Duke is going to choose to go after this ship over here. And we'll say he doesn't roll great this time. He doesn't roll great. He rolls 2 misses, 2 2s, and a 4. So he blows the other sail off the Edinburgh. Now, the Edinburgh is floating in the ocean. Can't do anything. It is stuck there for the time being. So, since the player can't move that anymore, he goes back over to the Empress, and he turns the ship around and sails back to his home island. Now, on his home island, he drops his coins off. They are now safe. Also, you can't make any attacks on ships on home islands. So, they're doubly safe. Now, you can choose to make repairs while you're here. Let's just say that the Empress had lost a sail for some reason. When she docks on the island, she can restore 1 sail. So, she would then get her sail back. Now, meanwhile, we've got this ship over here. Now, we could destroy it. That is an option. But the Edinburgh is actually a pretty nice ship. So what we can do is we can choose to touch it and then tow it. And then we'll say, well, I don't think it'd have quite the distance to do it, but it moves back to the island. And guess what? Now that we're back on the home island for our friends, the Pirates, they can actually repair the Edinburgh and take it out as their ship now. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other thing is that obviously the other ship can rescue it as well, which is pretty cool. But it's a pretty novel idea to get an enemy ship back to your home island. Now, this doesn't happen very often. For example, as we know, it had 1 sail left. 1. If the Duke had rolled well enough, it would have just sank to the bottom of the ocean. It also takes all the coins it's got with it. So let's just say the Edinburgh had got 3 coins from the middle island before it was shot to pieces. So now those 3 coins would be placed onto the Pirates' home island, or whatever the opposing team would be, and they'd get it. And then he would be able to check to see how many coins were actually on the thing, which is less. The game ends when all the gold coins are collected, or a pirate who feels he's got enough gold coins won't leave his home island, therefore causing the end of the game. And the third way is to destroy the enemy ships. Now, the issue is that at the end of the day, there's really only one dominant strategy. There is one last action that you can do, and that's a ram. So you can ram the side of an enemy ship or the front or wherever, whatever angle you wish to ram on, you are allowed to ram. And then what you do is you then roll 1 6-sided dice. And basically, if you roll above the amount of mass they have, you then eliminate one of the sails, basically. And then you can choose the board, and basically it's cannon versus cannon, but point blank range, basically. So you ram, roll a dice. If you get rolled higher than the number of sails they have, you remove a sail, and then you both roll dice and hammer at each other, kind of like a Warhammer combat. It's simultaneous, unlike shooting. So it can be risky, but it can be very rewarding as well. Yeah, at the end of the day, there's really only one dominant strategy, and that is destroying the enemy fleet. I have never actually seen a game go to coins before. I've almost been a part of one if you've watched War Story 1, but I've never actually fully seen a game go to coins. And the reasoning behind that is that if, say, you grab half the islands and you go and dock and just say, okay, I'm done, I'm not moving, I finished my game, the opponent then has to return to their own home island and call it a day, which means you're leaving all the coins on the table for them to take. And as I said, I've only shown 1 to 3, but trust me when I say that there are 4s, there are 5s, there are 6s, here's a 5. So sometimes you may pick up half the coins islands, but you might only get maybe 15 coins out of it, while your opponent then goes around and grabs his 4 or 5 islands, depending on how many you've given up, and he may end up coming out with, 17, 20, 21. You just never know. So most people don't feel comfortable unless they absolutely annihilate the enemy fleet. And the other thing is that if you make a ship well enough, it's pretty strong. For example, let's say I take the Duke here. The Duke's pretty good. So, Schooner. He's a schooner. His special ability is long-range cannons can't hit this ship. So that's nifty. That means you can't really maneuver him out, right? So on this particular one, he hits on 3s. You give him a captain. You give him a cannoneer, which gives him an extra cannon shot at short range on a 4. And you give him a few other things that then improve his odds at doing this. And yeah, okay, so he's got 3 crew member, so he can't carry any gold, but he is a monster now. And this is just a 3 cannon ship. Imagine this on a 5 cannon ship, a 5 sail ship, or a 6 sail ship, or even a 4 sail ship. You just really can't do much about it. Also, the other thing is going out and collecting coins as quick as possible involves splitting off your ships into different parts. So imagine you've got your ships all the way out, and then suddenly this guy rocks up with 3 of his ships in one area. I'll put the Edinburgh's sails back on so that you can get a bit of an idea. Ooh. I'll probably cut this a little bit. Alright, resailed. Alright, so now imagine you're in this position. Let's put the Empress over here. Suddenly, actually, I'll put the Edinburgh down here so you can see them. You got your ships spread out. They're heading towards islands. But suddenly, you've now got a 3v1 situation. That's never going to go well, right? It just isn't. It's going to end up quite poorly for you. And so, suddenly, your ship, the HMS Wycliffe, your best ship, is picked off completely by itself. Because even if it's got a captain and stuff like that, you're destroying maybe one of these ships, if you're lucky. And then suddenly you're taking, 6, 7 cannon shots in return, and that's damn near guaranteed to at least damage a ship enough that it's not going to be useful anymore. And then suddenly you're a ship down, they've claimed a half of the archipelago you're playing on, and bam, you're suddenly in a really bad position here. So that's why I think that really, at the end of the day, the rule that you're going to be following, the golden rule, is destroying the enemy fleet.
If you try to fight us,
You will get a nasty whacking.
if you disrespect our singing,
We will feed you to a kraken.
a pirate I was meant to be. Trim the sails and roam the sea.
Alright, now that we've gotten all that crazy rules stuff out of the way, gameplay. How does it feel to play? Honestly, this is an extremely fun game. I think it jumped the shark a bit. Probably around about the time 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea came in. Sea monsters, pirate ships, ghost pirate ships, Pirates of the Caribbean, all fine for me. But the second that we start going, yeah, we've got submarines and steamships and Vikings, it just sort of jumped the shark. But it was still fun. And the game is very simple to pick up. I mean, I had a quick reread of the rules, but I had memorized most of these rules off the top of my head. Also, these cards are brilliant. They're absolutely fantastic. What a great idea. Everything you need is in a booster pack. Legitimately, every little tiny bit you need to play this game is in one of these booster packs. Now, you may need to buy a few of them. But, at the end of the day, you've got your tape measure, you've got your dice, you've got your gold, you've got your island. And honestly, it's super fun. And also, common and uncommon ships and stuff like that, there is not a massive power gap between them. Don't get me wrong, a rare ship is dangerous. But, for example, this Duke ship that's actually pretty damn good, this is a common. That's what this little red symbol in the corner means. That's it. You don't need to, pull the ultra super rare, ridiculous mech that wins you the game. You can just play with commons and they work. That's what I love about this particular game. It is a shame that it went the way of the dodo, because I feel that this particular idea was a good idea. And I mean, they tried it with other things. There is a Star Wars version of this with spaceships, and they also had ground forces as well, so tanks and stuff. I didn't really like it as much. It also had like actual cards, like you built a deck and you played with the deck as well as these. This is just super straightforward. Just a nice little war game that you can whip out at any table, throw the islands down, and bang, you're done. I know I've got this lovely blue tarp on the table for the ocean, but seriously, this can be played on a kitchen table. And honestly, the maps don't need to be huge. This is a very small portion of this table that I'm on, trust me. This table is a 48 by 48 inch, and I'm probably on maybe 24 by 24 at most. I wouldn't even say that. I'm probably on a 16 by 16 section of the table. So this is incredibly easy to play. It's fun. The rules aren't overly complicated. Everything you need to know is written on the cards, if there are special rules for them. So definitely if you can find some, or you've got a friend who can play it with you, have a go. It may be on Tabletop Simulator, so you might be able to check it out and do that one. But at the end of the day, I think if you can find it, have a couple of games. Have a couple of games and see how you roll.
You say you're nasty pirate, scheming, thieving, bad bushwhackers. From what I've seen, I tell you, you're not pirates, you're just slackers.
A pirate I was meant to be. Trim the sails and roam the sea.
Alright, so the final thing is now that we've sort of covered the gameplay and all that, I know normally I do sort of like a campaign breakdown and everything, but to be completely honest, I've played this game so much that this does not need to be done for this episode. It's fun. I enjoy it. So what we're going to do is instead we're going to open some booster packs. So here we go. Booster pack opening. Ahoy! Woo! Okay, everyone. We're here for booster opening. So let's get stuck into it, shall we? So our first lot of cards will be Pirates the Revolution. So let's pop this bad boy open. And we'll have a look at what we got here. So let's put that over to the side. Alright, so the first thing I'm just gonna quickly show is this is the rules. rules and the card that tells you what you've got. And then, as you can see, you got your tiny little dice here. So that's pretty cool. Let's have a look at what we've got ship-wise. So we've got an island with a fog bank on the back. So some of these islands end up coming up with specialty sort of stuff. So we'll just pop that one down there. Hey, so we've got the flying fish, which is a common. So the flying fish. And it's a schooner, so it gets +1 against ships that are pirates. So great, awesome. That's fine on that one. We've got a musket man, and these are the gold coins I was talking about. So double-sided. Pop that over there. Ooh, what have we got here? Okay, so we've got a named character, Michel Bordeaux, and an event, mermaids. So that's pretty cool. So we've got Michelle and mermaids. Oh, we got a fort here. These were something that came in, particularly in the American one. So this is a fort. You place it on an island, and basically, yeah, it's like having a non-portable pirate ship. And this is a pirate one, as you can see by the pirate flag. So yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff. So that's the first booster pack. Alright, second one, in no particular order, we've got Rise of the Fiends. So once again, we've got our little card up the back here. And we've got these also, we're just like, hey, play online. Kind of stuff. Okay, so let's have a look. We've got a Spanish Inquisitor. So that's cool. We got another common. So we got the Grim Reaper. Now this is a cursed ship, as you can see by here. This little symbol here. So they were another faction. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We'll pop that over there. And who have we got here? We've got the Siren Song, which is an uncommon ship. One of these must be for it. So just wait, 49. So it's this one. So the Siren Song. Nice. Not too bad. And then we got another crew member. Who have we got here? We got a Pirate Explorer. And of course the coins. And we got the Reef. And yeah, for some reason, the Rise of the Fiends pack made all the stuff red. I don't know why. They just did. Alright, so that one's done there. Alright. Fire and Steel. Let's have a look at what we got here. So we got our, once again, rules and dice, the little thing. Alright, so we've got an island that's a whirlpool. We've got a oarsman who's Spanish. Well, here we go. Captain Arazur. So he's loyal France, hostile England. And he's a rare. Look at that. We got a rare, guys. Good stuff. So that's not too bad. Oh, we got our little pack here. Let's have a look. So we've got the Signet. Oh, we got another rare. So the Signet, that's a pretty nice ship. And then we got the Widowmaker. So this is a flotilla. So it doesn't really move. It's more of so it can be towed, basically. It's kind of like a fort on the ocean that can be towed by other ships. That's what this means, tow. The T. Cool, that's not too bad. Alright, great. Next one. We've got the Mysterious Islands. There's the full tag. Over you go. Off you go. Away with ye. Okay, it looks like we've already got a rare in this one, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so what have we got here? This one. We've got the HMS Pacifum. That looks pretty good. So that's a rare. Nice. We got a helmsman of the pirate variety. Little rules. Yeah, so this is the hidden island. So basically, they have an effect that you can roll on the back here with, which is quite good. And then we've got a common, the Septum Maria. So that's not too bad. Hey, we're not doing too bad this time. I actually did a sort of another one, and I didn't get very good stuff. Alright, so I've got Pirates of the Caribbean here. So So this is one of the official ones for Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously, no shit. Alright, and then here we go. So we've got our rules and dice, so I can just go pop over there. We've got a Whirlpool Island, so nice. We've got the Kiraback. So it's a galley, so yeah, not too bad. And then we've got the Swift, alright, which is another galley. And we've got a crew member here, Cotton. Let's see if we can get a bit more focus on that. Cotton. Ship gets a small movement, so basically he's a helmsman with extra specialness. And then we got Davy Jones. Check that out. So he's a common character. Yep. So Davy Jones. Alright. At Ocean's End. Okay, here we go. Let's get the crap out. So bye bye. Alright, let's have a look. So we've got Le Bonaparte. That's not too bad. We've got an American crew member, an explorer. We've got a fog bank, and we've got Nosso's Lair as a ship. Nosso's La, sorry, and then we've got a fire pod specialist. So these throw fire bombs on ships, and they're French. These ones. So once again, only crew can crew ships. And then finally, Davy Jones' Curse. Now, if I remember correctly, this is before the Pirates of the Caribbean one. So we'll have a look at what we've got going on here. So I don't think there's any Pirates of the Caribbean's character in here. I could be wrong though. Alright, cool. Bye bye. So we've got our island. You need one of those in every pack. What have we got here? We've got a Cannoneer, an American one. So American Cannoneer. We've got the Black Cat. The Black Cat. Now, I feel like this might be Jim Hawkins' ship from memory. The Black Cat. I know, it's yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's Bonnie Peel, which is another made-up character. It's Calico's cat. Alright, cool. So that's an uncommon. And then we've got the Sulky. Which you may remember is mentioned in the video. Look at that. We got a brand new Sulky. And then finally we got George Washington LeBeur. And Blackheart. There we go. Look, it's fake Barbossa. I know it's a bit hard to see. I'll see if I can get it. There we go. He's more like Barbossa mixed with Blackbeard, but there you go. So we got Pirate him, and George Washington LeBeau is American. So there you go, guys. That's all the booster packs we've got for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this part. Alright, let's get into the final thoughts.
Nary a lot of gold in them lot boosters.
We'll surely avoid scurvy if we all eat an orange.
And,
Door hinge? No. Guess the song's over then.
guess so.
Okay, back to work.
And that's it for Pirates, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this particular Pirates journey. If you are looking for sneak peeks or a way to contact me easily, check out my Discord. You can also email me any questions or queries that you might have, as well as just leave a comment. And, if you ask a question that's really cool, I might make a video out of it. So definitely keep that in mind. And that's about it. Now, I'm going to do a little experiment here. If you would like to see me play a game of Pirates, like the video. If this video gets 10 or more likes, I will make a video about actually playing a full game of Pirates. We'll take a proper video, and you can see how it actually all comes together. And we might have a few games. Who knows? We might be able to fit 3 or 4 into a video. So, but yeah, if you're interested in that, like or comment, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, you have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next review.
You best start believing in card games. You're in one!